tortured right now. It's September 12th. But I'm going to make a post. And a YouTube clip about how the FBI handled my complaint. Eventually, I was contacted by the FBI after they tried to push it aside and said that they would not take any kind of complaint from me at all, even though it involved their own agents. So I was then told I would speak with Julia Thornton, and right after I spoke with her, I was called, as I had mentioned, by Raul Buhanda, and it sounded like there was someone in the background, possibly an attorney, working for the FBI to coach him on what to say. He told me he had a trinket to give me. I asked what it was. He said it was a dolphin. And he wanted to see me again, and I said, I don't think that's a good idea. And then I sort of stupidly told him that I had reported him to the FBI. However, at the same time, I instinctively felt that he already knew that. He already had that information. And that was possibly why he called me. I think that it's possible that the FBI thought, well, let's just make it look like she's upset because you didn't call her the next day to go get her car. And so I think they wanted to see if they contacted me and said that he had this little trinket for me, would I change my mind about reporting him? How would I treat him? Would I go out with him? And sort of ruin my own complaint. And kind of invalidate myself. So that's what I thought the motive was for his call. And well, then Julia Thornton told me that we should meet at a Starbucks or at a public place. And so, actually, they wanted me to go down to their FBI offices, and I didn't think that was a good idea. I didn't think I should be in their building, and I didn't want a lot of people to know about my making a complaint. And so I asked her if I could meet her in a public place instead. So I did, at Starbucks off of Terwilliger Boulevard. There were a bunch of people there, a bunch of Hispanics. It seemed to me that a lot of people knew that I was there with the FBI and what it was there for. So I told her what had happened, and the first thing she did was accuse me of, when I told her that I had taken some prescription pills and for my migraines, and they questioned me about him, and then also that Armando Garza had asked for reefer. She then tried to circumvent that by saying, that taking prescription drugs could preclude you from employment with the FBI. And I said, I have documented migraines, and they're extremely severe. And it's prescription medication that I take specifically for pain. And no other reason. And she kept wanting to go back to that. And I tried to explain to her that my report was about religious hate crime, as well as what the agents had done. And she didn't even let me say one single word about all the vandalisms and all the different things that had occurred and how it could possibly be tied in with some of these different individuals I was meeting. She also, regarding the rapes and other kinds of forms of hate crime, she also tried to, I said that I felt that it was possible I had met them because I was in the middle of litigation and someone wanted to distract me from my litigation. And she waved that aside and cut me off from talking about that. She said it has nothing to do with your lawsuits. And then she said, and it has nothing to do with the Catholic Church. And the thing is she never gave me a chance to get any facts out at all. So she had no basis for knowing whether or not it possibly did have something to do with those things. So she really cut me off. And then she immediately tagged it and tried to repeatedly tell me that this is this sounds like a situation of professional misconduct or unprofessionalism. So, so then she said that, she would put my facts down in writing, and she would send it out to headquarters over in Washington, D.C., and then they send out the assigned special supervisory agents, they call them SSAs, to come out and interview you. And they supposedly do take one from one state, take another from a different state, so that they're not pulling people from the same field office that the person you're complaining about has been working in. So I said okay, and that was fine for that time. However, I can't tell you how uneasy I was over the fact that she cut me off regarding two huge components of what was going on. And it was the FBI's business, because hate crimes, which include rape, and especially repeated rape, and then conciliation by police, and then defamation on a state-sponsored level, those things are considered to be hate crimes that the FBI is responsible for prosecuting and investigating. And they didn't do that. Or they just wanted to shrug it off. And they didn't want to hear anything about how it could be connected to my lawsuits or other individuals. So, I felt very uneasy about that. And I thought, she's trying to come up with my complaint all on her own. So I thought, well, when the other two SSAs come out to interview me, then I'll tell them what really happened, and I'll have an opportunity then to explain some of the things that were going on. And so she said, that you'll be contacted when they're ready to speak with you. It might be a while. And I said, okay. And it was a while. It felt like maybe a month. I'm really not sure. But it did seem to be quite a long time. And I kept going to school, kept having car problems, with my battery being drained of energy. And, but I tried to do, keep things together otherwise. And kept up with my lawsuits as well. However, the minute that I had first made contact with Julia Thornton about Raul Buhanda, I was treated very badly by Judge Janice Wilson. She was the attorney for my defamation case. And initially, I thought, it's very clear that she and John Camp have a friendly history of working together. And I could tell, there's a sort of an adage that sometimes a female judge prefers to listen to male lawyers, and vice versa. Sometimes male judges prefer to listen to women lawyers. Just sometimes cuts out some of the competitive gender issues, and I don't know, I think it's just something that most lawyers know sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway. Well, it worked for John Camp and Judge Janice Wilson. But she was somewhat impartial in giving me a chance. I think that at first she did see that there was very clear grounds for my lawsuit. It wasn't frivolous at all. And she cast aside their claim that it was frivolous. It was definitely not a frivolous lawsuit. It was extremely important. And, I felt encouraged about that, but I was also new to, quote-unquote, the practice of law. Don't laugh at me because I'm pro se. And I took small losses harder than I should have. I should have seen that the big picture was that my lawsuit was good, and there was a lot of opportunity for me to be compensated and to get the information out that I needed, and possibly have everything corrected. And instead, I put a lot of work into different things, and I got really bummed out if somebody took away one of my points, that I was trying to make, or wanted to cast aside a part of it. And so basically, the Willamette Week, once they saw that she was serious about my lawsuit, they approached me that same day, and the Willamette Week's attorneys, not Bullivant, Hauser, Bailey, and basically said that they'd like to talk to me and negotiate. Pretty much, I had the ball in my court right then and there. And then, foolishly, I cried. I burst into tears, and I said, "Excuse me," and I think I burst into tears because I'd lost this one little point. And I think it was important. In some ways, it was important to me. But the minute that he saw me crying over that, instantly he straightened up, and I think he thought, she's on the way down, and we can definitely wreck her. I think he thought that my crying was a sign of weakness, and that I clearly didn't understand what kind of a victory I had right there in my hands. So, with his belief that I was completely naive and I didn't realize how I was most likely going to win, he decided to withdraw his offer of wanting to talk to me and offer compensation or any kind of settlement. So that was big mistake, number one on that for me. So initially, I'm explaining that because initially she was giving a chance. However, as soon as I reported the FBI agents, I don't know if Janice Wilson works for the FBI or if she knows people in the FBI. I really have no idea, but she gave me no mercy. And I don't know if it's because she knew so-and-so is connected to so-and-so is connected to so-and-so, or if she just... Or if she... I really don't know. All I know is she became very hostile. And then she was more than willing to work with John Kemp and do whatever he wanted. And that's when I noticed... and I noticed right from the start that he selected her. He chose when to file a response or whatever. He kind of picked out his lawyer. He wanted Judge Janice Wilson. And I saw that happen in the courthouses a few times. Supposedly it goes to a random person, but that's not always the case. If judges have a calendar, they know which judge is receiving things on a certain day, they can work it the way that they want to sometimes. So, all of a sudden she was being really nasty to me. And it was all right after this thing with the FBI. It was a huge burden. And then my hearings were being scheduled to occur on migraines. I started having migraines more frequently. Not crazy frequently. I mean, I say crazy frequently. I mean, not without any kind of a break whatsoever. But I started to get these migraines again, and then I noticed that my hearings were being concentrated on the dates that I had them. And I also started to get really sick from like chronic bronchitis, and I will go into that a little bit later. So it affected the way I was treated for me to try to report the FBI. And I was optimistic and thought everything would work out regardless. So the next thing that happened is, really, I can't say that I really picked out too many individuals on my own. I mean, like men, dated on my own or that kind of thing. I was mainly just completely focused on my lawsuits. And then I, kind of got over this, tried to get over this being raped thing, but then I was taken advantage of when I was incapacitated more than once. And sometimes I think it bordered on rape, again, date rape. Very close. And I have to think about it a little more to think where the lines are on all of it. But there are some things where you could just say, yeah, there's definitely a line that was crossed. Other things, it's like very, very close. So, are there question marks, I guess. At any rate, I wasn't with a ton of people at all.